All right, welcome back to the episode of Beer, Bacon, and Bros. Hard to believe it. It is week 12 of college football. We only have 2 weeks left of regular season football. As always, we are back for another set of pick'ems. The one chip challenge is the punishment that's on the line. Keith is currently winning, as you can see on the screen. I made an error, actually. He's at 58 and 41. Alex 55, 44. Adam 54, 45, and me at 53, 46 after a tough week last week. Adam picking up 6 wins, me only picking up 3.
And how'd that take the upsets work for you this past week?
Yeah, that didn't feel real great. So
1 week too late.
We're gonna see what happens. We got regular season, conference championships, and then we'll do a bowl pick 'em. So we have basically 4 opportunities to better the records here. We'll see. Maybe if you can turn the ship around, you might have a chance at actually hitting 100. So we'll see what happens. But here we go. Week 12. Just going to be me and Keith making the pick'ems on the video. Obviously, we didn't actually get our Week 11 video out, and so we're apologizing for that. But we're still on track here. Right now, the first game for us this week is actually a Thursday night American Athletic Conference matchup. It's SMU, who's 6-4, going to number 21 Tulane, who is 8-2. On the season, coming off a big loss to Central Florida.
I know we were all riding that wave last week, and that got us nowhere.
Yeah, that green wave didn't look great last week.
No.
I'm going to stick with the upset challenge, so I'm just going to SMU way and saying they take the upset here. So I'm going to pick opposite of everybody and just see what happens.
I'll ride the wave.
Oh God. You can also still lose, by the way.
No, I said ride the wave.
Green wave. Yeah. Right. I thought you meant you're riding my wave.
No. I'm going to ride the wave on this. I'm going to ride the wave on this.
Game 2, we're actually staying in the AAC. So we're going to go with Houston and East Carolina. This is a Saturday 2 p.m. matchup. Surprisingly, East Carolina is actually the 6-point favorite at home. They just lost to Cincinnati at Cincinnati this past week. Of course, Houston.
Close game though too.
Yeah, Houston lost that 77-63 game at SMU a couple weeks ago.
And Houston just came off that win against Temple.
Yeah,
that's Temple.
Yeah, Temple's terrible.
Yeah, they haven't been nothing since Matt Rule left. God, I know we all went East Carolina last week because they looked good coming off that win against BYU. I don't know where I'm going to go here. I think
I stick with them. They lost for me last week. I got to go with them again this week. I'm going to go East Carolina. Always a big fan of the quarterbacks. Both these quarterbacks have actually been playing really, really well. 3,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
You like the lefty too.
I was like Allers being a lefty. He's 3,000 yards. He's only thrown 20 touchdowns this year to 5 picks. I thought he'd be a little bit above it because he's more of a gunslinger, but they like this Mitchell kid that's a freshman or sophomore for him at running back. Reminds me a lot of Chris Johnson when he was at East Carolina, a real fast guy. So 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns for this kid already this season. It really wasn't even the day one starter. So for me, they like to hand him the ball, and he likes to run the football, and he's good at it. So I'm going to stick with East Carolina.
I'll go with the Pirates. I'll go with the ECU on that one.
Okay.
I do like where they're at.
So. Rolling over to some ACC action, we got the NC State Wolfpack 7-3, number 24 in the country. Been on a little bit of a slide here. They've lost 2 of the last 4 games. They're going to Louisville, who has been red hot outside the Clemson loss this past week at Clemson. Louisville back to 6-4, all of a sudden bowl eligible after winning 4 of the last 5 games for them.
Well, now they just lost Cunningham, correct? He just went down in the Clemson game.
I mean, he hasn't really done anything for them all year anyways, to be honest with you.
Right, but I'm just talking about as far as how the picks are going to ride.
He's considered day-to-day.
Okay. Yeah, he really hasn't done much. Only 1,500 yards.
And 8 touchdowns, yeah.
I think I'm going to ride with the Pack on this.
Yeah, it's been tough for me. I mean, obviously not having Devin Leary's tough for NC State. They've lost 2 of the last 4 to Syracuse, Boston College.
I like the quarterback. The backup that's come out. I mean, he's come out strong. He's come out with a gunslinger mentality. He's going out there and just throwing the ball down the field.
For purposes, I mean, NC State's a 4-point dog at Louisville. So betting purposes, they're favoring Louisville here. So You're going to take NC State?
I'm taking Pac, yeah.
I'm going to take NC State as well, actually. I'm going to stick on this little upset train and see what we got going. So we're both going to ride NC State here. Going into game 4, Iowa at Minnesota. 6-4 Iowa on the road at 7-3 Minnesota. This is a 4 o'clock game on Saturday. Right now, Minnesota carrying the 2.5-point favorite at home for them.
Iowa getting a big win in Wisconsin and a big win on Purdue.
Yeah, they played well the last couple of weeks. Northwestern, Purdue, and Wisconsin, 3 straight wins. They've gone from 3-4 to 6-4, and all of a sudden bowl eligible. You could say the same thing actually for Minnesota. They were 4-3 after losses to Illinois and Penn State, Rutgers, Nebraska, Northwestern, which seems like a pretty easy schedule.
Pretty easy schedule, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a tough matchup because Iowa always plays really good, stout defense. For the most part, at least.
For the most part.
Historically, they've played really good, stout defense. They've always had a really good run game. They like to control the ball. Historically.
Yeah.
But there's something about Minnesota at home.
This was tough for me too. I mean, you look at Iowa, right at 17 points a game offensively, 13 points a game defensively. You're talking about a team.
What scares me.
Like I would love to take Iowa, but they can't even average 100 yards a game rushing right now, which is usually what Iowa can do. But you look at Minnesota, all of their offense comes from running the football. 221 yards a game. Iowa, the best rush defense in the country right now at 88 yards a game. That's hard to pick at.
What scares me about Iowa there's been several games this year where they haven't scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
And the first 2 games of the season, they didn't even score an offensive touchdown.
Yeah.
They scored. They had what? They won 7-3, and they won based off of a field goal and 2 safeties.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go PJ Fleck. I'm gonna go Minnesota.
I'm on the boat too. You gotta almost just take this home team that's they're not getting points, but they're certainly not favored by a whole lot. And so for me, I mean,
something's got to give at some point in this matchup.
And I mean, Abraham is one of the best pound for pound running backs in the country. This dude's got 1,200 yards, almost 20 touchdowns. Like, he's not being talked about enough. So I'm going to go with Minnesota. I just think Minnesota. Maybe it's a 10-7 game. Maybe it's a 14-10 game. But I think Minnesota.
I could see it being like a 14-9, something like that.
Yeah, they're going to get just enough. All right, so the team that came out stupid hot, the Marshall Thundering Herd, they've scuffled a little bit. They're down. They're down to 6-4, 3-3 in their conference in the Sun Belt. They're on the road at 5-5 Georgia Southern, who's 2-4 in their conference. Things haven't looked great for Georgia Southern, but they're only a 4.5-point dog at home, and they
Marshall coming up with big wins against Coastal and at
lost. They took a loss to Coastal, lost to Louisiana.
Oh, that was Old Dominion. I'm sorry, I was at the wrong.
They beat Old Dominion and they did beat App. So Marshall obviously bowl eligible. Got to be super happy about that in the Sun Belt this year.
Yeah, so first year in.
This is hard for me. Georgia Southern gives up a lot of points, but also puts up a lot of points. Their offense has played really well for them this year. Marshall only putting up 23 points a game, but only giving up 16 points a game. Right? Georgia Southern loves to throw the football. Their losses this year, they lost to Georgia State 41-33, South Alabama 38-31, and then last week only putting up 17 at Lafayette.
Yeah, but they did beat JMU.
Give me Georgia Southern. I'm gonna take the Eagles.
You gonna take Georgia Southern home?
Yep. I'm just gonna stick with this underdog thing and see what happens.
Ride it out. I think I'm gonna go Marshall on this one.
Okay. I'm really excited to see where the other two go with this. Like, I'm really excited. So, little Big 12 action for you here. The number 4 team in the country, the TCU Horned Frogs, going to 6-4 Baylor. Noon game on Saturday. Baylor 4-3 in the conference. They are only a 2.5-point dog. Obviously, everybody's been big on Baylor this year. Both these teams really match up well lineup-wise. I mean, you're talking about teams that really love to run the football, both almost at 200 yards a game running the football. Both defenses only giving up 130 yards a game on the ground. So Baylor, did take a tough loss to Kansas State this past week, but they've won 3 of their last 4. Obviously, TCU undefeated and looking at a playoff chance. It's in Waco. Weather looks like it's going to be beautiful on Saturday. TCU, though, only a 2.5-point favorite on the road.
I think I'm gonna have to ride the hot hand here and go with TCU, but I think I'm gonna go with TCU because of the quarterback play. Adam says that every single week he hammers Duggan, and Duggan has done nothing but just produce this year. I think they're going to ride that momentum. I think they're going to keep it going.
Yeah, this one's simple for me. I mean, how can you pick against TCU undefeated at 10-0? They're playing for the playoffs. Max Duggan's 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Right.
Pat McAfee's screaming his name and showing the belt on College Game Day. So I get it. They line up well. Both teams, somebody has to give, right? Somebody has to give defensively on the run, and somebody, will continue to produce offensively on the run.
But I think Max Duggan's going to be the key factor in this. He's going to hit somebody over the top.
Okay, I'm with you, man. It's TCU all the way for me on this one. So, imagining a clean sweep of TCU for us across the 4 on the podcast.
I'd imagine so.
A little SEC action. Number 14, Ole Miss. They're 8-2. They're going on the road at 5-5. Arkansas. Arkansas has lost by a total of 5 points in the last 2 weeks, and some heartbreakers at home. They get another chance to upset a team that just lost to Alabama and Ole Miss. Right now, Arkansas
Ole Miss should beat Alabama.
Yeah. Right now, Arkansas a 2.5-point dog at home.
Give me the Rebels. Give me Ole Miss. I'm going to ride with them.
Yeah, I'm all about the run game for both these teams. 260 a game for Ole Miss, 223 a game for Arkansas. Again, you look at both teams, only giving up about 150 yards a game on the ground. Who's going to give it up, through the air, or who's going to ultimately be the team that falls flat? And I think for me, it's going to be Arkansas. I think they've just had a hard season, tough schedule, can't stay healthy. Things haven't gone well for KJ Jefferson.
And he got pulled. Did he get pulled or hurt last week?
I think he got hurt last week.
Yeah.
Actually.
And I mean Jackson. I like Jackson Dart.
Yeah,
a lot.
I'm a big fan of Jackson Dart.
I think Jackson Dart's played very well in that system for Lane Kiffin.
He's made mistakes, but I think Lane has limited him to the amount of mistakes he could possibly even make.
Right. Well, that's clear. That's evident in the amount of times they run the ball in the game. So, but they let him run too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's killed it on the ground. So.
Yeah. So both of us taking Ole Miss in this one, probably also going to end up being a clean sweep, but. Bedlam is this week actually 7:30 at night in Oklahoma on Saturday. Right now, the number 22 Oklahoma State Cowboys, they're 7-3, 4-3 in the conference. They are a 7.5-point dog on the road at Oklahoma. Oklahoma 5-5, just 2-5 in the Big 12. They have lost to Texas, they've lost to Baylor, they've lost to West Virginia this past week.
They just didn't lose to Texas. They got their asses
they got blown out by Texas. Yeah. But the Cowboys have struggled of late as well. I mean, getting blown out by Kansas State, or did you say getting their ass handed to them? They've lost to Kansas at Kansas, and they just barely beat Iowa State 20-14 last week at home. So, neither one of these teams are certainly hot at this moment going into Bedlam.
I think this is going to come. I mean, you like to say it. It's your quarterback play. Which quarterback do you trust more in this situation? Do you trust Dylan Gabriel or do you trust
Spencer Sanders?
Yeah.
Great question. I think Dylan is the guy that doesn't turn the ball over, but I also feel like Dylan this year has just not been electric. Yeah, he just hasn't been somebody that can take over a game and lead you to a win, right?
Right.
He's just almost been a game manager, and I think that's just...
He's been a Jimmy G.
Yeah, he's been a Jimmy G. Yeah, it's a great comparison, actually. He's been a Jimmy G because I think...
Except they're not winning.
I think Burnt Vegetables has just been scared to try and actually throw the football and turn it loose.
Right.
And they just kind of leaned on Gray to try and run the football. So for me, it's a terrible defense too, right? 432 yards a game right now from Oklahoma's defense. So
it's amazing when you can't pay those players, right?
I know. It's just so hard to kind of look at this and say who do I want, because I want to take the upset train, but Oklahoma State has played so bad the last, honestly, 4 weeks. Even with that win over Texas, they needed a miracle comeback to do that. So They have looked so bad. But Oklahoma, I mean, how do you lose to West Virginia at West Virginia? They're possibly the worst team in the Big 12 this year outside of Iowa State.
Well, and then you didn't even show up against Texas.
Well,
like,
yeah.
you didn't even show up at all against Texas.
Red River rivalry, baby.
No, I mean, I get that, but, like...
It's all about who shows up on what day.
You didn't even show up. I think I'm going to have to go OK State on this.
Wow, okay. I'm ready. Oklahoma in the you know, I'm gonna do it though. I'm gonna stick with Oklahoma. They're the first thing that came to my mind, and so I think Dylan Gabriel. Let's just say I think Sanders and the Oklahoma State offense turn the ball over, and Dylan Gabriel, while again not going to win the game for you, keeps them from turning the ball over and moving the ball down the field. So I'll take Oklahoma on this one. The big matchup. One of two big matchups, I guess, and so we're going to do both of them. They're just in time order for this one. Number 7, Southern California, 9-1, 7-1 in the conference. 8 o'clock going to UCLA, 8-2, 5-2 in the conference. UCLA number 16 in the country. Southern Cal is a 2.5-point favorite on the road right now as they go to UCLA. Pac-12 got some good matchups this week. Both of our final two
Very
games
good
are Pac-12.
matchups in
So.
Pac-12 this week.
There are only 4 good teams in their conference are playing each other.
That's why they're the best matchups.
Yep.
I like the quarterback play in this from Caleb Williams. I mean, if you didn't see our video earlier, we talked about Caleb Williams being like a potential Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, he's been unstoppable this year. I mean, has Addison even done anything?
Yeah, Jordan Addison's had 40 catches for 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. But I'll say this, I think Caleb's done a great job of spreading the ball around to all of them. They had like 6 transfer receivers come to Southern Cal.
Right.
So
Because Lincoln Riley came to Southern Cal.
yeah, so he's done a great job of spreading the ball to all those receivers. But you can't knock DTR. I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson has played really well this year, 2,300 yards, 20 touchdowns, only 4 picks for him too. So great quarterback play out of both these teams. And I mean, you look at this entire roster for all these guys, and you're like, all right, Caleb Williams transfer, Travis Dye transfer. Granted, Travis Dye is out, FYI. He's done for the season. So, but they have multiple running backs that are transfers. Jordan Addison transfer, Jake Bobo transfer. So this whole game is really built on transfers. But his actual name isn't Chardonnay, but I always call it UCLA's running back Chardonnay. Fantastic player. I mean, 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns. This dude is a fantastic running back. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to pick against him. I think Southern Cal has the better. Oh God, this is hard to say. I think Southern Cal has the better overall defense. I think what I love about UCLA's defense that they played for Chip Kelly the last couple of years. They are a risk-taking defense.
No, they're very opportunistic.
They love to jump. They love to punch at the ball. They love to try and really rush the quarterback. So Caleb Williams has got to be.
But it burns him a lot too.
Yeah, the Caleb Williams to this weekend's got to be the Caleb Williams that's been good all year, right? Only 2 picks. Doesn't like turning the ball over. Southern Cal, one of the teams in the bottom of the entire country as far as offensive turnovers this year. So. Caleb Williams has got to play really well, not turn the ball over, and he's got to get the ball out quick. Otherwise, UCLA could really run away with this, literally, because I think UCLA's best advantage is keeping USC's offense off the field and running the football. So, but I'm going to take the Trojans. They're my team this year. I've been high on them all year. I've said they're a 10-win team, so let's go get that 10th win.
I'm going to take USC as well.
All right. So Utah, 8-2, 6-1 in the conference. Oregon, 8-2, 6-1 in the conference. This is for the winner of their side, just like the Southern Cal UCLA game is the winner of that side. And so Cameron Rising versus Bo Nix, Thomas versus Irvine, Decay versus Franklin. So a lot of big names in this game for these two teams. Oregon putting up 42 a game while giving up 27. Utah putting up 40 a game while giving up 20. A lot of stuff to digest and look at on this side, but
I think it's going to come to the quarterback play again.
It's a literal pick 'em right now.
Yeah.
So you can't get better than this. It's quite a literal pick 'em right here. 10:30 on this game. Love the late night play of this.
Late game.
Yes, nice 7:30 game over in Oregon. I think this is beautiful. Nice night game for them. Ducks obviously get a home field advantage for me on that.
Yeah, it might still be on by the time we get home from tailgating on Saturday.
Oh, it will. Yeah, it'll be on by the time I get home from tailgating. So, Oregon obviously just lost to Washington. Thought they had a great game. Made some turnovers late. Did play great, tough defense against Washington. Washington's a good team, in my opinion.
Washington definitely turned it around from last year. They were horrible last year. They definitely flipped the switch.
Utah surprisingly beat Southern Cal on that field goal, then lost to UCLA at UCLA by 10 points. So for me, they did that in the flip-flop order. They lost to UCLA, did beat Southern Cal on the field goal at home. But so for me, I've looked at this, and I think Cameron Rising's a great quarterback transfer from Texas, but I like Bo Nix better. I just feel like
Bo Nix has played so well all year.
Exactly. I feel like this has been such a great senior season for Bo Nix, and what better way than getting this top 10 win right now, putting the Ducks in position to go to the Pac-12 championship game.
Potentially, I mean, you're probably not going to make it to the playoff, but you have.
You could talk about it.
You have that. You put yourself in that position to play yourself into that role, especially after coming off that embarrassing loss to Georgia to open up the year.
Yeah.
And then, to lose to Washington. But
nobody but Oregon has a chance right now to beat two top 10 teams and put themselves in a position if they can go beat Utah and then turn around and beat Southern Cal in the Pac-12. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a tough loss to Washington, and they would love to probably have that one back and be 9-1 right now because they'd be in the top 10 already. But
it would make their resume look a whole lot better.
But their other loss is Georgia,
right,
in Atlanta. That's not a home field advantage at all for Georgia.
No, not at all.
No. But
30 minutes up the road, that's not home field.
Yeah. So in Atlanta, I just feel like Oregon. The cards are in your hands. You just got to make what you have of the 5 and see what you can get out of it. So.
Well, that's the Pac-12 in general. I mean, the Pac-12. Whoever wins the Pac-12 is going to hold what am I trying to say? Their destiny in their own hand.
Yeah.
So. I'm with you. I'm gonna go with Oregon as well.
Okay.
I like how Bo Nix has been playing. Bo Nix he's been phenomenal since he transferred out of Auburn. I mean, he's been great there the entire year. I mean, he's got like 50 total touchdowns at this point.
He's got 24 through the air with 5 picks.
Yeah, but he's rushed for.
I think he's rushed for 10 actually. So I think that's going to put him.
I mean, 50.
No, sorry, he's rushed for 14. So you're talking about 38 touchdowns.
Yeah,
38
so, I mean, he's
touchdowns.
at 40 total touchdowns. Potentially going to have more by the end. He could be at that 50 mark by the end of the season.
I mean, I hate to say this. Somebody needs to start talking about this guy's offensive line. He's been sacked one time the whole season. 73% on his completion percentage, too.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's that West Coast offense. Quick intermediate routes.
Yeah. So, fantastic rundown of this week. Obviously, that is our 10 pick'ems for the week. Hit us in the comments as always. Let us know who you're making predictions on or who you're putting bets on and who you think is going to win. We love when you like that video, and obviously when you hit the subscribe button, completely free to you, really helps our channel out. And we appreciate all of those that are already subscribers to the channel.
Thank you.
We'll catch you next week, and we'll give you a rankings update and see who's getting closer and closer to that one chip challenge.